objections or corrections? I hear none. We'll have a motion for approval.
Make a motion to approve.
Joe Subio, second.
Second.
Ron Trask, okay, motion to approve. Promotion of officers, Mr. Spears, want to go through that?
Okay, we sent you the chief's recommendation for Officer Conrick. The chief has recommended that he's to be promoted from probationary 2 to 3rd class patrolman. And I'll turn this over to the lieutenant to tell us a little bit about the officer.
Officer Cornux, he's young, he's bright. He had no prior law enforcement experience to speak of. He's adapted very well. He's popular with both the officers and the supervisors. He's another strong hire, and I support the chief's decision to move him along if the Civil Service Commission does.
Okay, you heard the recommendation from the chief and lieutenant. Any motions, motion on the advancement?
So moved.
Ron Trask, second.
Second.
Joe Subio, any questions, comments for Lieutenant? If I hear none, if there's no objections, the motion will pass as amended.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next order of business is the approval of the entry-level eligibility list. We'll do two things with the eligibility list tonight. First, we will approve the list, and then we will certify the top 3 for the list so that the chief can decide who they're going to hire. Okay, so the list has been pared down a little bit more since you saw it last month. Understand that 2 members have withdrawn. And so we're down to 22 applicants who made it to the list.
Everybody seen the list?
Sir.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay, Tom, want to do these individually or?
Well, first we'll do the resolution number, your first resolution of 2021. It was easy to remember what the number was.
To certify the list.
Our first resolution is 1-2021. It is a resolution to certify the list of entry-level applicants and candidates for hire by the police department.
Okay, so you've heard that. Do we have a motion for that, for the, oh, somebody's coming on. A motion for the list
I make a motion.
made by Karen. Do we have a second?
Second it.
Second by Joe. Any questions or comments about the eligibility list? If none, I hear no objections. The motion will pass as read.
Okay.
So, Mr. Spears, now we
Mr.
have
Chairman,
the next one.
the civil service law provides that for each position that is available for appointment by council and the chief of police, that we certify 3 names to that list. And the chief and council have the discretion to pick any one of the 3, particularly in this case, as I noted last month, no one on this list has veterans preference. So,
Okay, so you see the resolution 2-2021, which is the list of the top 3 candidates to send to the chief for the next hirings. So motion on the resolution?
I make a motion.
Joe Subio made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ron. Do we have any questions or comments about the motion? So obviously, Lieutenant, these were the top 3, but the list was very strong, I hear.
I do believe this list is very strong. I apologize. I had to re-log into this meeting that we're on right now. So I may have missed something, but if you're asking about the current list, even though some people withdrew for various reasons, I still very much am confident in these top 3 individuals right now.
What's the background on these 3? What's the background on these 3? Are they current police officers or?
Number 1, Mr. Kearns is currently a Philadelphia police officer. He's on a a commander strike force, which means the commander of a district gets to pick 5 or 6 guys that he can really rely on. He's a young guy. He passed the polygraph at flying colors. His reputation is spotless, and the fact that he only has 4 years down there and he got picked to be on a commander's type strike force says a lot about him. Number 2, does not have prior law enforcement, but he does have Act 120. I believe he may currently be on Percy's list, but my understanding is that he'd be willing, even if Percy would pick him up, to leave there to come down to Plymouth Township. And number 3 is also a Philadelphia police officer, working more routine duties in a district. And again, he impressed the oral board at the time he came before.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very pleased.
Any other questions? If there's no objections, the resolution will pass as read.
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
the next motion, a resolution, is that you appoint an attorney. Even though the civil service ordinance says you reorganize every other year, there's been a request in the township that you appoint a solicitor every year for their purposes. So I'm assuming, unless there's objections, I filled my name into the motion for appointment.
Okay, so we'll go down to the list of names for attorneys. Tom Spears is 1, Tom Spears is 2, and Tom Spears. Is there any motions, first of all?
I make a motion for Mr. Tom.
Joe,
Thank you,
any
Mr.
second?
Second.
Thank you, Ron.
Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, if I hear no objections, the motion will carry as read.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Spears?
Just as a matter for each of you, if you have the ability to scan, or else you can just drop it off, but could you each sign a copy of each resolution so I can put together one full packet of signed resolutions?
Are you going to have it at your office, a copy?
Yeah, I'll have a copy here. If you just want to run in and sign it, you can all sign the same one. Michelle will stop by. I mean,
I can stop over tomorrow after work if that's okay.
that's fine. Okay, I'll leave it out, and we'll be here if you want to do it that way. Just so I get one, we have to have them all signed. So
That's fine, Tom. I'll swing by.
Okay, good enough. That'll be great then. All right, then now we're down to new business in the state of the police department, and I'm glad this is a much quieter, except for the snow, is a much quieter and less exciting than last month's meeting report of the police department. Lieutenant?
The only thing I have in terms of business of the police department is that since the last civil service meeting, our opportunities to get our officers vaccinated has really increased. Everybody who is interested has had numerous opportunities for either the first or second vaccination. It's moving along well. And it may not be that way for the general population, but for the officers, numerous opportunities.
Good.
And that's the only business I really have that I think I would bring to this board's attention.
Okay, any questions for Lieutenant? Anybody? No? Any new business for the board from anybody?
Well, and Len I see Jeannie's iPhone. Is someone signed into our meeting? You're
You're muted,
muted,
Len.
Len.
I'm not sure who Jeannie is. She joined.
Okay. If she
Any,
wishes to make a comment, she can unmute herself and say so.
any public comments? Now time, Jeannie's iPhone. Boy, Tom, now you got to jot down that somebody's at the meeting.
It's the first one in the longest time. I can remember it was exciting when a councilman would come to the meeting or something, just as a stranger, but this is interesting. Okay. All right, Jeannie, you're welcome to be here. Anyone else? There's no public comment. I guess you can make a motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
You have a motion?
I make a motion.
Karen, second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Subio. Okay. If there's no objections, then this meeting will be concluded.